is up, everybody? This is Keith Jamison. I go by Gator Guy 231 across the DFS industry, here for another special midweek EPL preview. We got 3 games all at the same time. Been something that we've been calling for and crying for months now. Hell, it feels like a year since we had this many EPL games all at once. Should be a ton of fun. I'm personally very much looking forward to this. It definitely is a slate that very much suits my style. Yes, there's going to be some goals, but you can get some really, really nice floors on not only some set piece takers, but some guys in really good spots that have high shot floors, that draw fouls, things of that nature. And, you know, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that fans are back in the stands. So that definitely adds another element, a little extra home field advantage for, you know, the home teams, which I do think matters. So a quick reminder before we get into the picks to mash that subscribe button, like, comment. It really does help all the amazing stuff over here at the Mayo Media Network. I'm so happy to be a part of it. And, you know, just make sure you check out all the stuff that drops, you know, the NHL, the golf. I mean, hell, especially for PGA Championship Week. Pat and the team have got a ton of stuff, just all sorts of great things. And also, if you are still yearning for more DFS action, would love for you to check out our site, or I guess my site, our site, FSI DFS. Search for it in YouTube bar. There's some great stuff there as well. Make sure you check it out. All right, let's get into what you guys are here for, which is the EPL action. Now, I think the big thing, I guess let's just do 2 big things. One is we have every game at once. So EPL is great on starters. It's 1 hour beforehand, so you will know everything you want to do. Secondly, just keep in mind, you know, the style that I'm giving you guys in your picks here is looking at like optimal builds, looking ultimately at the guys that have either really, really good floors with or without a goal. You know, a guy like Harry Kane, which we'll talk about in a minute, that's going to get, you know, close to value with or without a goal. And all these other guys that are on set pieces or cross the ball a ton or do all those things. We try to take the goals and the assists out of the outcomes as much as we can, especially in guys that we're not certain of. You know, are they going to score? Are they not? Right? You know, a guy like today was Edison Cavani. He did great. He scored the goal from close to midfield. Outside of that, did nothing else, right? So soccer is a weird game in the fact that you've got to, you know, equate goal scoring odds, like how likely an outcome is to happen versus if it doesn't happen, is that guy going to sink my line? And if so, maybe that's not a great cash type of player, but could work in GPP. So all those strategies come into play. All right, let's talk about the games and the picks. So the biggest favorite on the site is Tottenham minus 194, and potentially Harry Kane's last game as a Spur. He just asked out or asked to be transferred. So it'll be really interesting to see the reception now, especially now that there's fans there. I would guess, given that he is an absolute legend at the club and has given all for Spurs, that it would be, you know, a very positive one, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Villa's plus 516. That is the highest total in the slate at 3.25. Next game, Everton minus 112, hosting Wolves, who just wants the season to be over. Not what they expected at all, but they stayed up. 2.25 total, so very low. And then right in between them, Newcastle minus 130 versus one of the worst teams in EPL history. Unfortunately for the Blades, Sheffield United plus 373, 2.75 total. All right, let's start at the top, and then we're going to quickly get to Kane. So let's talk about, you know, I always joke his bromance, you know, the 2 forwards for Tottenham that just have an undeniable link. Son Heung-min, 10,700, most expensive player on the site. Look, he's always the Tottenham player with the floor, right? He gets set pieces, very much loves to shoot, loves to set up Harry Kane, gets crosses, gets fouls drawn. Here's the thing. You're going to need to decide, are you going to play Son or are you going to play Kane? I guess there are routes that you can play both of them. I don't know if that's optimal to spend, you know, over $21,000 on 2 forwards, especially when you have some really good forward options much lower. But I think it's going to be Son versus Kane. I think because I'm a sucker for narratives, I'm going to go Kane. But I'll just say this right now. I think Son as like an outright floor, if neither one of them scores a goal, neither one gets an assist, Son will outscore Kane. But let's jump to Harry Kane. This is all the narratives all at once. You know, has a chance at the Golden Boot. I think he's in the lead for Golden Boot. I should double check that before I got on. But, you know, in the running for Golden Boot with Mo Salah. Potentially last game as a Spur, last home game. Like, Harry Kane's got to score, right? He's got to score. So I think that there's no chance that Harry Kane doesn't score. You very well might see him put in 2. from a romantic standpoint, there's no point in fading Harry Kane here as the best top favorite in the slate, highest total, all of this stuff going on. Yeah, Harry Kane, lock and load in my lineups at 10-5. Even though he's not my type of guy at that price, I'm still going to go him over Sutton. All right, we're going to now chip way down in price because this is where the slate really gets interesting. James Rodriguez was back. Amazingly played over 70 minutes. I thought if he started, actually, I didn't think he would even start this past weekend, much less play 70 minutes. He's at 7,200, was taking almost monopoly set pieces when he was on the pitch. By far the most creative player. Wolves has been terrible. Wolves, at this point, they just want the season to be over. Like I said, there's no Europe. There's nothing they're playing for. Nuno's, rotating in kids. So I really do think it's just one last chance for James to show out for the home crowd. 7,200 is one of the cheapest prices we'll see for him all season. So I love the play. I think he really makes a nice compliment to Harry Kane or Son as your second forward. Lucas Dean, also from Everton. Look, Everton's been playing kind of with wingbacks. James Rodriguez in the hole with Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison as strikers. But it just gives a guy like Lucas Dean just complete license to bomb forward, to cross, which he just loves to do. Additionally, when James came off, he was taking a ton of corners. I believe he even took one or two with James on. It's always something like Lucas Dean's a really good corner kick taker. So 6,300, I think he stands far and above the rest of the defenders on the slate, especially, when you consider the fact that, you really could see Wolves trot out a pretty awful lineup versus Everton, who definitely want to win at home. Alan St. Maximin, as I was talking to my partner, Tendril Storm, at FSI about this before I got on, I kind of have a crush on St. Max here. He's always been a guy I love, and now they made him forward eligible. It's funny. They make him forward eligible on a slate that I actually don't know if being forward eligible matters because there are so many good forwards. But he's at 6,100. Sheffield's been just terrible defensively, including getting the shutout versus Everton last week. They still allowed a ton of chances. St. Maximin is the guy that a lot of times has been creating the chances. He has a few games in the past 2 seasons with 2-3 assists. He has huge upside. In addition to, that upside from goal and assist equity, even though he doesn't have set pieces, he has a ton of open floor play. He shoots a ton. We'll get the occasional cross, but a lot of fouls drawn, things of that nature. So at 6,100, I really do love him. Matt Ritchie, however, is the lock of the slate, in my opinion, why he's the cover boy of this video. Is potentially going to take a majority of set pieces. He does play, in a back three, as like a wing back. Newcastle a lot of times is a back five, but versus Sheffield, I really do think it'll be more of a back three with Ritchie having complete license to go forward. Ritchie, much like Lucas Dean, you do not have to ask him to cross the ball. It's what he is there to do. In addition, he takes all the in-swinging corners. You always have a chance with Matt Ritchie, especially if you don't see Shelby in, that Ritchie could end up being on monopoly set pieces. And at 6,000, I just expected him to be 7,500. So I think it's just too good of a discount to pass on. Below him, I'm going to bring up Matt Target. After I wrote it down, I've kind of softened on the play a little bit, but I do think it's solid enough. He's been taking some corners. He did lose them last week versus Bertrand Traore. So if you don't see Traore in to take the in swingers, they're both left-footed. I think you could assign those to Matt Target, but Matt Target tackles a lot, does cross the ball. It's not the best matchup in the world. By 5,200, if he was my last guy in, at the defender spot, I think I'd be fine with it. The more I've played around with builds, I think I might punt off the second defender. But again, I think after Lucas Dean, Matt Target's definitely one of the better defenders on the slate. Gio Lo Celso, I think, is close to one of the best values out there. He is back splitting corners for Tottenham with Son. In addition to that, we're finally getting to see Gio under Ryan Mason express himself. Gio Lo Celso, when he came into Tottenham, hugely regarded, huge signing. You had Jose Mourinho out there saying, that Gio is one of the most talented players he's ever managed. Former PSG kid, Argentine national team, just tons of pedigree, tons of talent. We finally saw a little bit of it last game. And he does sub out a lot of times, but at 5,000, if I'm going to get 70 to 80 minutes out of Gio in this matchup, I really do think it's close to a lock and load. Finally, just one other value, and this could easily be John Joe Shelby too, but John Fleck at 4,200. Again, split sets with Oliver Norwood. John Fleck is the midfielder on Sheffield that gets forward the most attacking of that midfield three. I think at 4,200, it's a really good chance to get you 6 to 9 DK, which again, at that price, if you're trying to fit everybody else, really, really useful for your lineup. So that's 10 picks. You know, if I have to give you guys a core here, I probably, as painful as it for me to core a guy like Harry Kane, so much narrative, I'd probably say Harry Kane, Lucas Dean, and Matt Ritchie being your core to build your lineups around tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching. Good luck. And final thing, shout out to one of the FSI members, Jay, punched 2 tickets to the King of the Pitch today. That was absolutely awesome to share and celebrate with him. So congratulations, Jay. Hope somebody in this whole entire network that watches these videos on Mayo Media Network is able to punch the final tickets tomorrow to the King of the Pitch. Make sure you give that a shot. And thank you all once again for watching. This is Keith Jamison, aka Gator Guy 231. Good luck tomorrow. See ya.